He left me when I refused to end my pregnancy. 5 years later, he saw my twins at a mall and his mother's $2 million lie finally came crashing down. He saw his sons for the first time in a mall. 5 years old, gray eyes, his jaw, his brow, his entire bloodline walking through a Saturday crowd in dinosaur backpacks, holding the hand of the woman he had made to disappear. Julian Vale dropped his coffee. 5 years earlier, Mara Bennett had stood in his conference room with a pregnancy test wrapped in tissue and trembling hands. She was his junior legal counsel, 27, brilliant, the only person in the building who ever handed him back a wrong answer with proof it was wrong. He had fallen in love with her in that same conference room. Then she told him she was pregnant, and he became someone else entirely. He turned toward the window, talked about his board, his mother's expectations, his family name, his empire. A baby is not a scandal, Mara said. For you, maybe not. Those words broke something between them that never healed. Then Julian reached into his jacket and slid an envelope across the table. Money, a clinic appointment, a lawyer's card, a neat solution for an inconvenient situation. Mara stared at the envelope for a long time. I came here because I thought the man who held me at 3 a.m. might show up, she said quietly. Instead, you brought documents. She pushed the envelope back against his chest and walked out. 3 days later, she resigned. Julian told himself it was for the best. He was wrong about almost everything that year. Now he stood frozen by a marble planter while Mara crouched down to tie one boy's shoelace. The other leaned into her shoulder and whispered something. She laughed. That laugh had once lived in his kitchen at midnight. She stood up and saw him. The laugh vanished. Her hands closed around both boys instantly. A reflex, a shield, 5 years of survival compressed into one gesture. Julian stepped forward. Mara, her name came out broken. The boys looked up. One tilted his head. The other stared at Julian with those gray eyes. Curious, innocent, devastating. Mom? The quiet one asked. Do you know him? Mara didn't look away from Julian. 3 seconds of silence. No one important, she said. Julian flinched like she'd hit him in front of the whole mall. She turned the boys away. He stepped forward again. Are they mine? She stopped, turned slowly. Her face was calm. That calm scared him more than anger. No, she said. They are mine. Mara, I didn't know. You never asked. The boy on her left frowned up at Julian. Mommy, why is he looking at us like that? Julian's voice cracked. Because I didn't know you existed. Mara stepped closer and lowered her voice. You don't get to say please to me. You don't get to show up 5 years later and act shocked that life went on after you tried to erase it. I made a mistake. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. You handed a pregnant woman an envelope and tried to buy her silence. Her chin lifted. That wasn't a mistake, Julian. That was a choice. She took both boys by the hand and walked away. He watched his sons disappear into the crowd. 2 pairs of gray eyes looking back once. 2 lives he had never held. That night, Julian ordered a full file review of every document connected to Mara's departure. What came back stopped him cold. A settlement packet, an NDA, $2 million. Sent to Mara's apartment 1 week after she resigned. He had never seen it. He had never signed it. His signature was on the last page. It wasn't his. Julian walked into his mother's study at midnight and placed the documents on her desk. Margaret Vale didn't flinch. She didn't belong in our world, she said. She was carrying my children. I protected you. Julian looked at his mother. Really looked. For the first time in years. You stole 5 years from my sons, he said. And you used my name to do it. Margaret's expression didn't change. So Julian picked up his phone and called his attorney. Then he called a reporter. Then he sat down and waited for morning, when the woman his mother had paid to vanish would finally learn the truth about who had actually signed that envelope. Full story on channel, link below.